This lecture will focus on the rise of new empires in southwestern Asia. Specifically, we're going to be focusing on two, and we'll focus on the second more than the first: the Assyrian Empire and the Persian Empire. The Assyrian Empire that you see here is based in modern day, Syria and northern Iraq. That's sort of where they start. And then, like empires do, they expand, they conquer a wide swath of area, and then you can see in the map how big they are at their extent. We're gonna skip over the kings and the names of who ruled when. The main sort of takeaway, the thing I want you to remember about the Assyrian Empire is that the way that they conquered, the way that they were effectively able to expand and beat all these other areas, is they used terror tactics. They would conquer an area, and then even after they'd conquered it, even after they'd beaten the army that they were fighting, they would commit atrocities on the captives that they'd gotten. And they did that for a purpose, not because they were mean, not just because they were mean at least. It was so that the next people that they faced wouldn't even dare oppose them. They would just, surrender immediately. They wanted everyone to fear them. So they wanted people to fear and dislike them so that people would just sort of cower into submission. And it worked for a while, but then it eventually came back at them because they made a lot of enemies and then they were defeated. The Assyrian Empire becomes this big, powerful empire, conquers a bunch of places for 100 years or so. They're the biggest show in town, and then they collapse. They're defeated, and nothing lasts forever. It all disintegrates and goes away. Then there's a period of time where some other people will skip. Then the Persian Empire. The homeland of the Persian Empire is in modern day Iran. So it starts off as a smaller country in, again, modern day Iran, and then they expand and conquer, eventually expanding to become the largest empire that the world had yet seen. So their record will be broken, but at that time they create the physically largest empire that to that point had ever existed. The founder of the Persian Empire is a guy named Cyrus, commonly referred to as Cyrus the Great. So he's the guy that really makes the Persian Empire an empire, and he's the guy that starts the whole thing. Cyrus the Great, the founder of the Persian Empire, is even today a revered figure in Iran. And one of the reasons he's called the Great, he's not just this great military commander who creates this big empire, he's also very different from the Assyrians. He is uncommonly tolerant for, in terms of ancient kings. When he conquers people, he allows them to keep their own religion, which in modern times wouldn't seem like such a big deal, but in ancient times it was. In ancient times it was common for once the people got conquered, the people who conquered them made them convert to their religion. Cyrus didn't do that. As far as Cyrus was concerned, he would say, hey, I conquered you, you have to pay me taxes now, I'm the boss, but in your own time, you keep your own religion, you keep your own customs, you sort of do what you want to do. For the time, that was very tolerant. And he actually even put in rules that, I don't want to discriminate against people, we should all be friends here, you're all, part of my empire, I'm the boss of everybody, but there was more equality there than was common in the ancient world. And so that's one of the other reasons that he's called Cyrus the Great. A later Persian monarch, Darius I, also often called Darius the Great, instituted a number of reforms to the empire that I would like to discuss now. To make the gigantic empire easier to govern, he divided it up into different satrapies or provinces. Basically, think of them as states. Each state would be ruled over by a governor or a satrap that was appointed by the emperor, by the king. He would appoint them, and then they would be in charge of governing the particular state. This helped delegate his power, or take decisions out of his hands and put it in the hands of others, and then all he has to do is monitor 20 governors, and he doesn't have to monitor this gigantic empire. And leaders also realize the importance of roads. They create what's called the Royal Road, which you can see up in the map up there, and this is one of the world's first superhighways, and this is this protected road that merchants can travel on, and it promotes trade, business, throughout the empire, which, connects the empire. It makes everybody wealthier. It's one of the ways that the Persian Empire is able to, become so rich and becomes so powerful. Roads or interconnectedness is something that you're going to see a lot of different empires, a lot of different social groups care about, because the more connected an empire is, the richer it can get. The word monarch earlier, and it occurs to me that I don't know that we've defined monarchy yet. So just in case you don't know, monarchy is another form of government. It is a government where it's ruled over by a king or queen. The power is passed down through heredity, so like it stays within a family. So that is a monarchy. An army was obviously very effective because they were able to conquer all these different little countries along the way to creating such a big empire. One of the reasons for that is military innovation that they're credited with. They essentially created the idea of special forces, a group within the military that would be, higher, more select, that represented your, better fighting force. And they called them the Immortals. They called them the Immortals because there was always, 10,000 of them, and if anyone died, they were immediately replaced. So their number never went below 10,000. And again, strategically, essentially, their vision, which ended up being a good one, is that you want to not have your good people sort of spread throughout the army. You want to have this group that is extra special, and then you can use them in different ways. You sort of know that this group is your best group, and again, that's one of the reasons they were so successful militarily. Dominant religion in ancient Persia was called Zoroastrianism. This was a monotheistic religion centered around the teachings of the main prophet of the religion, whose name was Zoroaster. See the sort of motto of the religion up there: good thoughts, good words, good deeds. So Zoroaster basically taught, again, be good, that he taught that there was one deity and that there was evil too, and you needed to, choose good over evil. So, themes that you're potentially familiar with. So that's Assyria and that's Persia. Thanks.